In a rare and alarming development, reports have emerged that Hamas has carried out a bombing strike on mainland Israel, marking one of the most direct escalations in recent months. This strike is being described as highly unusual because Hamas's attacks have historically focused on border towns and areas closer to Gaza. But this time, the operation pushed deeper into Israeli territory. The nature of the strike has left analysts pointing to a shift in both strategy and capability, suggesting that Hamas may be looking to demonstrate a new level of reach and resilience in its campaign against Israel. For observers, this raises critical questions about Israel's defense systems and how they adapt to evolving threats. What makes this strike particularly significant is not only its rare nature, but also the timing. Israel's defense establishment has been heavily engaged along multiple fronts, from the Gaza Strip to the northern border with Hezbollah. This added pressure means that a direct bombing incident on the mainland doesn't just highlight Hamas's intent to surprise, but also to expose vulnerabilities. According to early military reports, the strike led to explosions that were heard miles away, creating panic among civilians and forcing emergency responses across multiple towns. Security forces rushed to assess whether this was a one-off attack or part of a larger coordinated effort. From a technical perspective, the ability of Hamas to project force deeper into Israel shows either an improvement in their existing arsenal or the successful smuggling and deployment of more advanced weaponry. For years, Israel's Iron Dome system has been celebrated worldwide for its ability to intercept rockets with remarkable accuracy. But a bombing strike is harder to anticipate and counter compared to traditional rocket fire, especially if it involves improvised devices, drones, or underground smuggling routes. Analysts note that Hamas could be experimenting with hybrid tactics, combining conventional rocket attacks with unconventional explosive operations, which complicates Israel's already difficult defense calculations. This adaptation alone can be considered a feature of Hamas's evolving strategy, as it forces Israel to spread its resources thinner and remain on high alert, even in areas that were previously considered relatively safe. Adding to the day's turmoil, a separate but equally serious incident occurred when 10 Israeli soldiers were injured in a major road crash in Gaza. While it may seem like an unrelated event at first glance, the context in which it occurred ties back into the broader challenges Israel faces during its operations. Military convoys are a frequent target of both accident risk and ambush in the volatile Gaza region, where roads are often under surveillance by hostile groups and subject to rapid escalation. This crash has been described as a logistical setback, but for Israel, the optics are just as important. Injuries to multiple soldiers in a single incident highlight the constant strain placed on ground forces as they navigate hostile environments. The performance of armored vehicles, convoy strategies, and coordination on the ground are all being scrutinized as the army evaluates what went wrong and how to prevent similar accidents. In reviewing these two incidents side by side, one can see a layered picture of the current conflict. On one side, Hamas is emphasizing unpredictability, breaking patterns, and showcasing its ability to disrupt Israel in unexpected ways. On the other, Israel's forces are managing the immense pressure of maintaining military efficiency in high-risk zones while also responding to civilian fears back home. For the average viewer trying to understand why this matters, it comes down to the performance of each side in adapting to new realities. Hamas's selling point, if you will, lies in its ability to innovate with limited resources, turning surprise into leverage. Israel's unique challenge is to maintain the effectiveness of its multi-tiered defense system, from missile interception to troop safety, while dealing with the psychological warfare of these rare strikes. For civilians, the design element of this situation is psychological impact. When attacks move deeper into Israel, it changes the perception of safety. Even if the physical damage is limited, the fear generated is profound. Families in cities that never thought of themselves as frontline targets now feel the uncertainty that border towns have lived with for years. This intangible effect is often one of the primary goals of such strikes, and it adds another layer to why this event is gaining so much attention in media and policy circles. At the same time, the crash involving Israeli soldiers underscores the heavy operational cost of maintaining such a wide security net. Vehicles, troop movements, and on-ground coordination all represent the design and execution of Israel's military presence, and when failures occur, whether due to enemy interference, fatigue, or simple error, they stand out in stark contrast to Israel's otherwise strong reputation for military precision. 10 soldiers injured in one crash might not be the result of an enemy action, but in the broader theater of conflict, every weakness is magnified. For the broader audience following this story, what stands out is not just the violence of the bombing or the accident, but the way both incidents reflect the evolving complexity of this conflict. It is no longer confined to predictable rocket exchanges or limited skirmishes. Instead, it's a multi-layered struggle involving technology, logistics, morale, and strategy. Each side is adapting, and every new development brings fresh uncertainty. The key takeaway is that these rare and sudden escalations have ripple effects far beyond their immediate casualties, influencing political calculations, military readiness, and civilian psychology in profound ways.